Hello everyone. Our industry for analysis is Telecom. We will start with the industry analysis of telecom sector, where we have defined the structure of industry with the Pester and Porter's 5-force model and have also identified the key business metrics that are critical success factors. We have also identified two successful companies in the industry and we will share their growth story with you. In the end, we all know that each industry has disrupted due to technological advancement, and we will try to analyze how telecommunication industry would be disrupted and how will it look. Currently, India is world's second largest telecommunication market with a subscriber base of 1.16 billion and has registered strong growth in the last decade. The Indian mobile economy is growing rapidly and will contribute substantially in the Indian GDP. In 2019, India surpassed USA to become the second largest market in terms of number of app downloads.
Now we will be talking about the pestle analysis of the telecom sector. Pestle analysis, first of all, we have the political analysis. In political analysis, we have the foreign direct investment. FDI played an important role in shaping the telecom sector in the telecom infrastructure and the financial expansion over the past years. Second, we have the National Digital Communication Policy 2018. The government of the India introduced National Digital Communication Policy 2018. It fulfills the communication and information needs of the enterprise and the citizen. The policy established resilient, secure, ubiquitous, and affordable digital communication services and infrastructure. Second, we will talk about the economic analysis. In economic analysis, we have the goods and services tax. Goods and services tax was introduced in India and it was levied as 18% on the telecom services. The rate varies on the place in which telecom services are offered. Second, we have the domestic and the export share. TRAI had made some recommendations on exports. The telecom body said that India must transform its imports and exports for the indigenous manufacturing of the telecom equipment. Third, we have the revenue growth. Telecom industry is set to reverse the previous 2 years of declining trend with the 7% growth in the 2020 fiscal year. Now third, we have the social analysis. In social analysis, we have the first education sector. Telecommunication can promote the access to education in the rural areas. It can also help the students to access the content directly. It also helps the teachers in developing knowledge and skills. Telecommunication can also assist a lot to improve the literacy for the adults. Now second, we have the healthcare sector. In the healthcare, delivery is set to change its course in the near future. Telecom development and other associate techniques contribute enhanced results of quality. In several instances, these interrelated technological innovations also decreased and need for the hospitalization. The significant development in the field of telemedicine and M-health application changed the patient's mindset. Now fourth, we have the technological analysis. In the telecom industry, we have the capital intensive technique. Therefore, the product cycle and the service must stay for a longer before the returns are left. License operators and equipment manufacturers are under pressure because the technology is uncertain. Telecom sector needs constant upgrades in order to meet its technological advancements. Telecom capital expenditure was considered to be non-discretionary, and this expenditure increases or decreases depending on the technological changes, which occur on time-to-time basis and which require increase in the capex to be incurred by the operator. Next, we have the legal analysis. Telecommunication falls under the legislative competence of the union and not the states. Consequently, the legal framework governing the telecommunication sector is within the control of the union government and the parliament, and it is under the Telecommunication Regulatory Authority of India. In India, legal framework covering the telecommunication sector includes various services like internet, radio gapping, voicemail, VSAT communications, e-commerce, broadband in services, etc. Now we have the environmental factors. Climate change and global warming can affect how telecommunication products reach the customers. Today, environmental issues have become one of the most important factors to be considered in the telecom industry. Operators are paying increasing attention to their environmental performance and are cooperating more closely with the telecom equipment manufacturers.
Now we come to Porter's 5-force model analysis of Indian telecom industry. To understand this, we have to know what are these 5 forces and how do they impact an industry. The first force is threat of new entrants. For any firm to enter into the telecom sector in India, there are certain factors that influences it. The prime being huge capital requirements. The cost of running an active tower is about 60 to 65,000 rupees per month, and you need to have thousands of towers like this to establish your telecom network in a country like India. Airtel itself has spent more than $250 billion on its network. The second factor is access to the fiber optic network. The largest fiber optic network in India is built by BSNL that reaches most part of the country. For private players like Airtel or Jio, they have their own fiber optic network that connects major towns and cities but is very limited. So for a new firm, it is very difficult and cost ineffective to lay out a network that would reach to the remote parts of the country. The third factor is government and legal barriers. A firm needs to enter into a contract with a fixed service provider to navigate its traffic over the short as well as long distance charging points. A 7-year plan needs to be rolled out over 4 phases, and any shortcomings in the network coverage can lead to an encashment or the forfeiture of the bank security of that phase. All these factors summing up with falling average revenue per user makes it undesirable for new firms to enter into this market. So we can say the threat of new entrant is low. Second force is threat of substitute. As such, there is no direct substitute to telecom services, but we can say the closest substitute is internet or the broadband services. Since we have seen the subscriber base of internet services has grown far more better than that of telecom services. Although major players like Airtel or Jio provide both telecom as well as internet services, but still a large part of the internet market is still held by local internet service providers. So we could say that there is moderate threat of substitute. The third force of the Potter's model is bargaining power of the supplier. In telecom industry, there are 3 kinds of supplier. The number 1, telephone tower companies. We might think they have a significant impact on the network operators, since their day-to-day operations is heavily dependent on them. But due to presence of large amount of companies in this sector and immense competition between them, they lose all their leverage that they might have over the operators. The second one is SIM card manufacturing. A large number of SIM cards are produced in India and some are imported. So private players like Jio or Airtel would prefer to have more than one SIM card manufacturer as their dealer to make sure that there is no delay and optimum stock in the market. The third one is mobile phone manufacturing companies. If this was the day of CDMA or GSM where they have interlinked relationships, there might have some impact. But in today's scenario, mobile phone manufacturing companies seems not to have any impact on these operators. So we could say the bargaining power of the supplier in this industry is very low. Now the fourth force introduced by Potter is bargaining power of the buyer. In telecommunication industry, there are 2 kinds of buyer, individual subscriber and enterprise subscribers. When we talk about individual subscriber, there is almost negligible cost of switching, which makes them treat the subscriber services as a commodity only. That is, they can switch anytime they want. But due to low average revenue per user and a large number of users in the market, a single buyer or even a group of buyers cannot potentially impact the operator. But when we talk about the enterprise subscribers, they contribute to a large amount of revenue for these firms. So they does not want to lose them. So that gives them an edge over these operators. So we could say the bargaining power of the buyer is somewhere moderate to high in this industry. The final force introduced by Potter was competitive rivalry. When we talk about telecom industry, there are only 4 major players left from 10 to 12 players in 2015 that are Reliance Jio, who is market leader having more than 40% of the market share, followed by Airtel with 30% and then Vodafone Idea with 20% and finally BSNL with 10% of the market share. Due to homogeneity in the services, quality and not much innovation, most of these firms try to compete on price itself. And since they have invested a large amount of capital in marketing and promotional strategies, and due to number of exit barriers, the competition becomes intense day by day. So we can say the competition rivalry in this industry is very high.
It all started in 1984 when Mr. Sunil Mittal started assembly of push button phones first time in India. In the early 1990s, Bharti Telecom Limited was manufacturing fax machine, wireless phones and other gears. In 1992, Bharti Telecom Limited was successful for the bidding of one of the 4 networks auctioned by the government. And in 1995, Bharti Telecom Limited was launched under the name of Airtel. In the year 2002, Bharti Enterprises went public and was listed on Bombay Stock Exchange and National Stock Exchange. In 2010, Airtel acquired African portion of Jan Groups for 10.7 billion, which was the second largest acquisition by any Indian company. Although Airtel had to suffer huge losses for this. Similarly, in 2010, Airtel bought 70% stake of Warid Bangladesh, and later on in 2013 the rest 30%. In 2017, Airtel announced that it will acquire Telenor, which was no cash deal, but later on they had to pay 16,000 crore for licenses. In 2019, Tata Telecommunication became a part of Airtel. Currently, Airtel is operating in 18 countries. In India, Airtel operates in 5 segments, which are telemedia, digital division, mobile data division, business, and Android-based tablets.
In order to identify the short and long-term goals for Airtel, we did the SWOT analysis, and the major strengths that we found are: it is a renowned company, it has an extensive infrastructure, and it has a high brand equity. The major opportunities are strategic partnership with smartphone companies and untapped location where 4G is still not feasible in India. Now combining these, we can say that the short-term goals for Airtel should be to tap the locations where 4G is still not feasible and to strengthen the partnership with these smartphone companies, as it will ensure a steady cash inflow for the organization. The long-term goal for Airtel should be to identify a market similar to India.
When we talk about the telecom sector in India, it becomes imperative that we talk about Reliance Jio. India's Reliance Jio Platforms is the world's most ambitious tech company. Reliance Jio Infocom Limited, also popularly known as Jio, is a mobile network operator and is the only world service provider in India. The service, as we all know, was launched in September 2016 with a welcome offer. Since then, Reliance Jio has become a very big name and it has been able to amass 400 million subscribers in a matter of just 4 years. Yes, which is very huge. In order to see what led to this success, we will look towards the product offering and value proposition of Jio. Reliance Jio Broadband is a 4G broadband service that offers data and voice services along with secondary services like instant messaging, live TV, movies on demand, news, etc. The second product is Live Smartphone, which was launched in October 2015 by Reliance to provide the voice over LTE facility and offer high-speed broadband services. Very recently, Jio has ventured into provision of Wi-Fi services. Jio Fiber is a combination of high-speed broadband, TV service, and voice calling via a landline connection. Reliance Industries Limited and its ambition to become net debt-free ahead of March 2021 has led to a flurry of activity. As we can see, Reliance Industries Limited digital platform raked in 10 investments in just a matter of 9 weeks. The largest stake was brought by Google, amounting to 9.9%, followed by KKR, Vista Securities, and many others. We turn to SWOT to gain a practical insight into how Jio operates and whether it would be successful in the longer term. Jio's main strength lies in its brand recall due to backing by Reliance. It has a great scale of operations and it also benefits from the economies of scale, and it also leverages its existing network. Coming on to the weaknesses, the biggest question is, when will Jio start making profits? We know it apes the model of Amazon, wherein it cross-subsidizes the profit from other businesses and invests it in Jio. When we talk of opportunities, it has got a good opportunity to enter into the e-commerce sector given its physical network and the sheer amount of assets it possesses. It can also leverage vertical integration by entering into complementary businesses. Finally, the next external factor, which is the threat, we can see that there are all-out price wars because the competition is also gearing up now, and aggressive consolidation and mergers and acquisitions by the other companies. The very glaring example was that of VI, and
Now we look at the metrics. When it comes to the telecom industry, one of the first metrics that comes to mind is the total number of subscribers. In this regard, Jio is the market leader with 35% market share, amounting to 404 million subscribers. Compared to that, Airtel has 28.5% of market share, amounting to 326 million subscribers. Now, even though Jio is the market leader, when it comes to acquisition of new customers, that is where Airtel is doing far better than Jio. They have acquired 3.77 million new customers compared to Jio's 1.46 million, which is more than 2 times that of Jio. Now, another metric to keep in mind is ARPU, that is average revenue per user. It is perhaps one of the most important metric for this industry. In this regard, Airtel is doing far better than Jio. They have an ARPU of 162 compared to Jio's 145. Moreover, their ARPU has increased by 26% on a year-to-year basis compared to Jio's 20%. This could perhaps be because of the aggressive marketing strategy adopted by Jio, because of which they have customers that are more price sensitive. The other reason could be that Airtel has a far superior network quality, and because of it, the customers are willing to pay a premium for that better quality. The next metric to keep in mind is the churn rate. Now, even though these companies are adding new customers every month, but they are also losing some of these customers. So if overall their new customers are more than the ones that are leaving, they'll have a positive churn rate. And in this regard, both of these companies have positive churn rate. Jio has 1.7% churn rate and Airtel has 1.5% churn rate. Now, we also need to look at the profitability of these companies. When it comes to net profit, Jio is doing far better than Airtel. They have a net profit of 2,844 crore rupees compared to Airtel that have a loss of 762 crore.
Let's talk about technological advancements which have disrupted telecom industry. First, eSIM. With the arrival of embedded SIM, telecom companies are at risk of losing their relationship with end consumers. Hardware manufacturers like Apple and Samsung are responsible for integrating eSIM in mobile devices. The second is artificial intelligence. AI is becoming increasingly important for providing higher network quality. Traffic classification, anomaly detection, risk prediction, and related network orchestrating will have tremendous impact on network quality, and self-optimizing network will have influence on performance of all of them. Third is Internet of Things. Telecom companies are in strong position to profit from the emergence of Internet of Things. Due to their experience delivering high quality network that meets regulatory requirement and their expertise in lifecycle management of millions of devices in their network, telecom companies do have advantages compared to other players that also want to gain a share of this market. Fourth is 5G network. The telecom companies are working on providing 5G networks to spark an enormous wave of faster internet. While the technology has not been fully defined, companies are proceeding with their lab and field trial in the race to stay competitive.